Hi everyone, thank you for joining today. It is 11:59. I'm going to give everyone a minute, but we'll get started pretty much straight away because we've got a nice little half an hour packed in. So I'll just see, yep, we've got a few more attendees joining. So we'll just give it 20 more seconds. Thanks so much for coming today on this hopefully lovely day wherever you are. I'll just give it one more sec. Okay. And I will just get started. It's 12 o'clock. People will join us. We are recording, so that will be okay for those who are not. So, hello and welcome to Elmo's latest webinar, introducing Elmo Insights, AI-powered answers without the analyst. Thank you for all joining us today, for logging on and joining us today. As we are meeting from various locations, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which we are all meeting today. For me, that's the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to elders past and present as early innovators and acknowledge their significant contributions to science and technology throughout land, water, and culture. Sorry. So, quick admin from us. You are in listen only mode, so you can hear us, but we can't hear you. This webinar is being recorded and will be sent to you after today. Do ask your questions as we go along. That you'll see there's a Q&A box in the bottom. We will answer a few of them at the end, but for those that we can't get to, we'll compile them all and send them out as a resource after the webinar later this week, if not all next week. So you are joining us today because HR teams have more data than ever, but less time than ever. Oops, I've gone too far. Less time than ever to turn it into insight that you and your leaders can actually act on. Over the past 18 months, one message that has come through loud and clear from both customers and prospective organizations that are exploring Elmo is that reporting is taking too long. It's relying on manual effort, and the data is often outdated by the time it reaches leaders. And we've heard that, and that's why today we are introducing Elmo Insights, which is now in beta and will be available soon. So, Elmo Insights is the newest product built to eliminate the gap between data and decisions. So instead of spending time pulling reports and wrangling with spreadsheets, you can ask questions in plain English and get instant answers that you can act on. So here's what you're going to see today. First, you're going to hear from our people partner, Em. She's also what we call customer zero. That means we'll be using Elmo Insights internally, testing and refining it in real HR scenarios, and it's guided by what HR professionals like Em actually care about because she is a user too. And next, you'll see a live demonstration from our senior solutions consultant, James. He is going to walk through how Elmo Insights actually works using a question you could be asked regularly. And then we'll wrap up with a short Q&A with our speakers. So we're going to start with a quick poll. If our moderator could please launch that for me. How do you currently access HR data? And you can see here, we've got spreadsheets, HR system reports, BI analytics tools, a combination of these, or I rely on someone else. I've also realized for our moderator that I can't see the responses. So she will have to send them to me in a chat. Great. A combination of both. That's not surprising. It's what we're about to hear from. So a combination of both is the main result, and that's why we're so excited to introduce Elmo today. So, Em, you obviously work at Elmo, and you're an Elmo customer. Can you walk us through your current process for accessing people data and how you typically present that information to your manager, the leadership team, or the board?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Elise. Hi, everyone. Welcome today. To go through, I guess, yeah, my current process is quite a manual marathon. I've essentially become a human data generator. I've had to learn more about Excel than I ever intended to. I spend a significant amount of time doing data dumps and manual workarounds, running VLOOKUPs and pivot tables. just to get a report, into a state where it's useful to those requesting it. It's a lot of manual, heavy lifting, and it feels like that hidden part of my job. And which is a common thing, I think, in HR, as you would all know. HR people, we're not professional designers or data scientists. Once I finally have the data, I then have to spend even more time figuring out how to visually present it so it's boardroom ready. I'm constantly tweaking charts, labels, and the layout to make sure the leadership team can actually digest the information. It's a huge creative effort and it takes a lot of trial and error. However, I think the biggest one for me is every hour that I spend wrangling with the data or formatting a slide is an hour I'm not spending on the floor with the people, with our people. I'm so focused on the how of building the report that I have little time left for the so what. The actual insights and the actions we should be taking, like engagement initiatives, leadership training, and building out comprehensive capability pathways for people.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. I'm sure for those of you attending today, your situation will not be unique. So let's not hesitate. Couldn't think of the word any longer. James, if you don't mind sharing your screen and let's show them how Insights is going to work.
Awesome. Thank you, Elise and Em. Can we all see that okay?
I
Yeah.
can, yes.
Amazing. Yeah, so thanks so much everyone for coming today. I'm really excited to take you through what we're working on with Insights here. So we're going to go through a few things. We're going to start with how to actually make a query using our AI assistant. We're going to show how we can use those queries to not just get information, but really create the story and tell the story that we need to be communicating to to our executives, to our stakeholders within the business. We're going to look with that, I guess, through our different visualization options as well, which is a huge uplift compared to our old analytics and custom reporting tool. And then also our dashboards, reporting, and like really crucially there, the level of visibility that we can give to different people in the organization over the data that we need them to see. All right, we'll come across to our insights. So we'll set the scene here. Em has just sat down on a Monday morning when our CFO walks past and asks a simple but high pressure question. So marketing have just asked for additional headcount. What's their budget? Now, this is a question that every executive is going to expect an immediate answer to. And this is also the exact moment where traditional HR reporting struggles. And it's not because the data doesn't exist, but it's because getting the answer takes time.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but usually if anyone in our C-suite asks this, my heart sinks because I know I have to stop everything, export 3 different CSVs, and spend the afternoon in a pivot table.
Yeah, that sounds about right, Em. But I guess good news, bad news, depending on how you look at it. You're definitely not alone in the boat there. Throughout like the various demos that I've done, I so often hear about people complaining that the traditional setup where answering these questions, it means exporting data, it means applying filters, it means building pivot tables, just as you've said. And then at the end of that, we've also got double checking the numbers. We need to make sure that what all of that work was based on is actually accurate in the first place. Does that resonate with you, Em?
Yeah, yeah. And just to add to that as well, I know we've all been there sitting in a meeting where, HR says the budget is X and finance says it's Y. You spend the whole meeting working out whose spreadsheet is right instead of, working through and solving the actual issues.
Yeah, 100%. Like in so many organizations, producing that budget report can take anywhere from hours up to like the better part of a day. And by the time it's ready, as we said at the start, the CFO's asked that question. The meeting that the CFO needed it for has already happened. The time for that information has passed. So with Elmo Insights, that entire process is going to disappear. So I'll come over to Insights and it's going to fire up my data assistant. Before we ask the question that M has been asked, it's worth noting that because we are using an AI assistant, you also don't have to know the exact question that you want to ask. Like you will be able to prompt the assistant to get an idea of the kind of things that it can help out with. So that's a good one to know. So if I ask here, what type of questions can I ask? It'll give me a list of, just kind of sample things that it can help us out here with. It's looking at the different data points that it's going to be able to interrogate and then giving me some example questions that might be helpful. So really good one to note there on how we can source our information. But coming back to the example, we're going to ask the assistant here, what is the total budget for all of our positions within marketing at the moment? What is the total budget salary for each position in marketing? Yeah. Cool. So we hit enter on that, then the system is going to, well, the AI is going to then interrogate the data that exists within the system. It's a good one to note here. It'll just be your data. All of your data is siloed. So it's only going to be interrogating the information that you've got within your system. And you can see here that just like that, it's created a usable report with all of the breakdown of that of the marketing salary budget that we have here.
Yeah, James, this is great. This is really that the magic moment for me. Seeing it respond to our natural language means, we can actually get the question answered during the meeting and, not by end of day tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And, as you touched on before, data science, something you've probably picked up in your wheelhouse a little bit now, but, not what not what you've been trained for, not what your job is. So here we're taking all of that sort of job away from you. There's no report configuration, no technical skills, no need to know the data fields, filters, formulas. Elmo understands the intent instantly. So now that's an executive ready visual with no setup, no delays. M's got clarity, the CFO has answers, and HR can move from that reactive reporting to proactive insight. Now, instead of rerunning this analysis every time the CFO comes through with the exact same question again, M can actually pin this to a dashboard here. Now, you're going to be able to create your own dashboards. We will give you a few of these out of the box, but I've created this workforce demographic dashboard here, and I will click pin. Now, I'll come to my dashboards here and click on that workforce demographic dashboard. We'll go through this workforce demographic dashboard in a bit more detail in a sec. But you can see all of these different reports that I've created using that AI assistant, and they're all just displaying that data every time I need to come in. Now we come back down all the way to the bottom to that one that I have created, the total position, total budgeted salary by position title, and click edit. And now this is going to take us into the report builder, where we're going to be able to take it a step further. So we talked about the story here, right? Executives don't just want the answer to that question. They need the context and they need that confidence in the data. So from that same insight, M can instantly refine and validate what she's seeing. When we dig a little deeper into this question, we have an idea now of what the budget that sits against each of these positions is. But for the intent of that question, we have how much budget do they have because they've asked for more headcount. We might want to see who actually owns within the marketing department each of these different dollar amounts. So if I come into the top here where I've got all of my different attributes and measures, I'm able to type in user's manager's full name and then generate that report. Cool. And then if I click on my settings, I can change what data is actually being visualized. So we're going to move position title out. We're going to move the user manager's full name up onto that x-axis. And then when I click apply, I'm now going to be able to see which managers actually have which bit of budget attached to their reports.
I love this. That looked really easy, being able to slice the data instantly without rebuilding the whole report is really where that best practice stuff comes in. This is great.
Do you have any examples of that in real life, Em? Like where you've had to do some like weird data slicing with like, your reporting?
Yeah, good question. All the time. To give you a real world, just yesterday, I was asked to shift the view from total salaries to average salaries, and then by role, and then by gender. Again, that's like a huge another manual layer, creating another graph or multiple. Then figuring out, I guess, the best way to visualize it again, so it's nice and clear. And then finally getting it to the point where I myself can look at the data to find the insights. By the time I finished the maths and the design of the report, I've spent all my energy getting it onto one page. I would much rather have the data presented to me instantly so I can spend the time actually going through what it's telling me, or about our pay equity or our culture, rather than just being, the person who built the chart.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're going for. It's taking that, the insight or the report and it's turning it into real-time decision making. So we're not kind of stuck, but yeah, behind that like administrative burden before we can use what we know here. Cool. So we're going to add some more information into this now. So if I want to add another field, maybe the CFO wants to know what the difference in the salaries that are budgeted and the salaries that are actually assigned are. And he might also want to know like where our vacancies sit within that team as well. So we'll add in a few more things here, our position variance salary, and also our position variance headcount. Cool. So again, I'm going to generate that report. So now we have all of these different visible columns here. We'll switch that back over to the chart once that loads up, and then we can have a look at the visualization options that we have handy. Cool. So if I come over here and click on that change visualization, you can see the like 20 or so like options that we have for those different visualization options. I mean, there's plenty there, particularly compared to our old analytics tool. There's a lot more options, and don't worry, Em, your pivot tables are still there. So if you do still want to put those together, you've got that option within the system. But for this one, I might want to go for my stacked line column here after I've tweaked a couple of the bits of information there. We'll go position variance salary. I want my position title to go into that x-axis as well and apply. And then we'll come back and have that option for a stacked line chart. A stacked line column, rather. Should have that one.
Yeah, a huge win for me here, James, is being able to toggle like this between the graphs and the visuals. This can just reduce so much time for me. I really do spend a lot of time deciding on which one works best for the different data points,
Yeah.
but also for the different stakeholders as well that want different things. I'd rather spend the time again finding, the data and what it's trying to tell me.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the way that you can just sort of change around between the different ones to find what is going to tell that story best is such a big winner here. So like that position variance head count, for example, I might want to put my slice with color there, and then pull that out. So what I'm going to be able to see, actually if we get rid of that total budgeted salary there, what I'm going to be able to see here, position variance salary. Oh, apologies.
Real time demoing always
Yeah.
comes with this.
Live demos.
Live demo.
Cool. So we'll put like the salary there. Yep, cool. So now if I click apply on here, awesome. So on this report now, I can see that there, because we've got this little highlight here with the slice with color option. This is telling me here that the dark blue means that there is a variance in the head count of one. So there's one unassigned head count within Max Orwell's team that is, currently not being used. And we can see down here that Max Orwell's team have $190,300 of budget that is currently unassigned. So when marketing are asking for more headcount and the CFO is wondering where that budget might be able to be found from, M is quickly and easily able to go back to the CFO and say, Max Orwell has 190,000 of currently unassigned budget. We might be able to move budget from Max's team into, say, Samantha's team so that she can get the headcount that she needs.
This is amazing. I love it. It's so easy to tell between all the different graphs and, even just the color scheme that's come through here. Really easy to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if I click save, this is going to save that as it currently is back to that dashboard. Cool. So I'll close that. It'll pull us back to our dashboard and we can see all the different sort of visualization pieces that I have there. I've got that chart that we just made. And then I've also got here kind of other different information that I've created for this dashboard. So we might want to have things in here around the gender breakdown by location. I've got things about our headcount by department. We can even look at the annual change in total headcount by department there. So there's no conflicting numbers. There's no version control. Every time I open this up, we're going to be able to see live, up-to-date information that's being pushed directly from the system. There's no follow-up emails. We're not asking HR to rerun reports. And because we can tailor these dashboards, we can have different experiences for any kind of member of the executive. So finance, operations, any C-suite member can focus on what matters most to them while still working from that same source of truth.
Yeah, James, this is such a game changer for boundaries. Getting this as a self-serving dashboard will empower the leaders to find the answers for themselves. It moves, us in HR from being, this data vending machine and allows us to focus again on, where and why of our budget and, lots of other insights easily. This dashboard looks great.
And I think a really big one to call out here as well is that little share functionality up the top right. So once you've created these dashboards, it doesn't just have to be for those big C-suite questions. If you wanted to have from the learning, say, a dashboard that you've built around completion records of, compliance training, maybe from performance, you've got some ones around those sort of unfinished checkpoints, all of that sort of stuff. You'd be able to be sharing them with managers within the system so they can have their own dashboards. It's not just going to be limited to, the people at the top of the food chain being able to get the information that they need.
Amazing. I love it.
That is so great. Thank you, Em and James, so much for that demonstration. We have got a little bit of time for questions. I can see lots of questions, which makes me super happy because I think a lot of you are really excited about this new feature. So I will, like I said, we're going to answer a few of them now. Sorry, answer a few of them now. And then what we will do is compile them all and send them through as a resource after the webinar because there's a few technical questions in there. We don't want to get anything wrong, so we're going to make sure we veto that with our product team. But one of the first questions I think, and this is a big one, is how does Insights work? Sorry, James, this is for you. How does Insights work if I'm already an ELMO customer?
Yeah, great question. So ELMO Insights is going to be packaged as part of HR Core. So the HR Core is the piece that unlocks the access to our data foundation. So if you're already an ELMO customer with HR Core, then Insights will automatically become available when it's released. And we'll let you know as soon as that's going to happen. If you're an ELMO customer who doesn't have HR Core and you're interested in getting this capability along with Insights, you can also book a call with one of our team to get a demonstration, potentially with me. Could be good.
Re-seeing James would be great. And I think there was a couple of questions. A few people joined late. So just to confirm, so Insights is currently in beta with a small group of customers and will be rolled out very soon. So at the end of today's webinar, you'll get an email there will be a register your interest form for customers, and we'll let you know as soon as it's actually live in your dashboard. So for those saying, I can't see it, that's why. Um, is there any additional cost with Insights?
So
Sorry,
yeah,
that's the question.
yeah, no worries. So yeah, again, like if you have HR core today, there's no cost. If you don't, then like the cost will basically just be HR core. But yeah, for those of you who currently have HR core, then yeah, no additional cost.
I have got this answer ready. I had a feeling this question was going to come up. It doesn't answer everyone's question, but it's around hallucinations and data. So, how does the tool account for AI hallucinations?
Yeah. So for those who are unfamiliar with the term, like AI hallucinations occur when like language models generate plausible sounding but factually incorrect information. So essentially just sort of making things up when they don't have the right answer. So the way that we've gotten around that is that we're analyzing your real workforce data using those sort of proven statistical methods. So when it does use AI to explain findings, all it's doing is summarizing facts from your database rather than kind of like generating any of that plausible fiction. So we're minimizing that risk of hallucinations by ensuring that every answer is generated from verified data only. That's when we're generating through that AI assistant. You see that trust layer coming up. And following that defined business logic as well. So we use RAG or our retrieval augmented generation to ground the AI responses in verifiable factual data. So instead of answering from memory, the system is retrieving that relevant data from our verified database to construct that answer. So basically, by restricting AI's knowledge base to our data, that's how we're preventing that AI hallucination.
Yeah, great. I think that kind of answers a few different people's questions around data. It was asked quite a few different ways around like it is your data. It is only in your ELMO platform. It doesn't access anything else outside of that.
Yeah.
So just yeah, really want to put that point home. Will there be suggested dashboards per module?
Yeah, so we've developed 5 dashboards to help customers get started quickly, so we can, understand those types of insights available. At this stage, we don't have any plans to add more, but they're basically covering off your kind of like key modules in there. If we see a strong demand for additional module-specific dashboards and it supports customer adoption, we'll certainly look at like expanding that library in the future. We're always open to feedback. We always want to make this better for you. So if there's something that we're getting a lot of requests to see, then there's no reason we wouldn't.
I saw you kind of touched on this at the start, James, but just to kind of like reiterate, like with a lot of AI, you have to give it a prompt. Like I say, I as a marketing person, I X, Y. Is there any framing that you need to do with insights to get the best results, or how can be used as is?
We can absolutely use it as is. You will have the option to kind of train it based on the like quality of response you get in there. But we've set this up so that it can be asking those plain English questions. We don't need special prompts framing like you may see with any other sort of AI tools. I think the really key one is to be specific with what you want to know. That's always going to help improve the accuracy. But you don't need to provide any of those instructions like act as my data analyst or, something like that. Probably one of the bigger ones to be aware of is like the kind of system nomenclature. So I ran into a few problems the other day trying to use the word role instead of position. Role already has a meaning in the system, so it was leaning on that role. But ultimately, this is really designed to understand those straightforward questions and return answers based on the data that you've got available in your environment.
Yeah. And I think there's a few questions around modules, a lot of questions that I just want to pause on today. I want to make sure we come back with the right answers, especially around payroll, the payroll module. So keep a lookout on your inbox. We are going to send, like I said, a recording from today's session, the landing page where you can register your interest. If you're not a customer or you're a customer who doesn't have HR core, you can book a demo. And there will be some more resources coming in the next like week or so, including the answers to those questions. So we will answer them. But that is all we do have time for. I hope you guys are as excited as we are about like what this looks like for the future of strategic HR. Where you're no longer going to need that sort of deep technical expertise that Emma's been relying on, being a data analyst to get meaningful insights because This will give you back the power directly in your hands so you can focus less on pulling that data and more on the story behind it. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Like I said, keep a lookout on your inbox. There's lots of exciting things coming, new products, more webinars, events. So it's a super exciting time. If you do have a chance to fill out the survey and let us know what you thought about today, that'd be appreciated. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of your day and week, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.
See you later. Bye.